Last Tuesday night, I watched TV, and I watched maps and graphics and percentages while I lost my country. And I have this horrible, fearful feeling right now, and I'm nervous for myself, but I'm also nervous for the most vulnerable among us. I've just been debilitated by sadness lately. It took me a while to realize why the feeling seemed so familiar. I have a tight-knit group of friends, and years ago, the bedrock to that group, our friend Elaine, died. And the day it happened, we all came together and hugged and cried, and then we all just retreated to our own lives for a while we processed what had happened. And I remember the feeling that I didn't want to run into anybody in that group of friends because I didn't want to see the pain I was feeling on somebody else's face because I thought it would just be too much. That's how I feel now. That's grief. This is grief. Grief will tell you that you're suffering alone. It will tell you that you did something wrong. It will tell you that your pain is so strong, it will forever drive happiness away. Grief will tell you that everything you thought you knew was wrong. It's not true. We're hurting now, but we'll hurt less later. And in the meantime, let's remember why we are progressives. We know that love is the answer. We know that all humans deserve dignity. We are compassionate people, but not so we're saved a spot in heaven. We're compassionate people because we know it's right. What's that I hear? Theme music? Why, yes. You're listening to Tailspin. I'm Melanie. On this episode, we have Sadie Katz and music by Dave Williams and Chad Bishop. First up is Sadie Katz. She's an example of one of the people who I was fortunate enough to have just walk into my house, ready to share and be genuine and fun. And I was really happy to have her here. Sadie Katz is an actress and now an independent film producer. And you can find information about her on her Facebook page or Instagram. That's Katz, K-A-T-Z. And now Sadie.
Okay, so let me tell you, should I tell you I'm going to tell you the non-artsy, I'm going to tell you the truth behind the story.
Tell me the truth.
Okay, so basically what happened was I'm going to give you the nitty gritty. So I was with my fiance, who was the president of Playboy years ago, and HBO and MGM, so he was very wealthy. And I'm in my 30s, and he's 60, and he's very rich, and we live in a multi-million-dollar house, and I'm living a lifestyle with my teenager, and we decide that we're going to break up, and I'm in a panic. And as a struggling actress...
Now, were you saying you were a teenager, or you were living the lifestyle of a teenager?
No, I have a 15-year-old.
Oh, you have a 15-year-old.
So at the time, I had a 12-year-old, and I live in Manhattan Beach. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what am I going to do as my bread and butter as I'm a struggling actress? So when we break up, he says, I'll give you $10,000 to kind of get back on your feet. So I decide I'm going to put money into a project. And I'm like, well, it would make sense because I'm an actress in horror films. I'm going to put money into a horror movie. However, the flip on horror films is kind of not doing that well, but documentaries are doing very well. So one night I'm up and I'm scanning the internet couple of years ago, and I start seeing that Bill Murray is going fucking viral. Everything Bill Murray is doing. I don't even know if I should tell this story, but I'm going to. So please don't shoot the messenger. But everything Bill Murray is doing is going completely viral. So I'm like, God, if he picks up a kickball, it's, becoming something.
Right.
If he has ice cream, if he walks in at a college dorm and washes their dishes, it's on Reddit, it's on Rolling Stone, it's fucking everything.
Right.
And I'm smoking a joint, and I start to kind of fall in love with Bill Murray and just what he signifies. So I'm like, oh my God, a Bill Murray experience. What if I did a documentary about trying to have a Bill Murray experience? And I had seen this other doc about My Date with Drew, about this like nerdy Jewish guy. Nothing's wrong with nerdy Jewish guys, by the way. Brian Hertzling, who did a thing called My Date with Drew, where he tried to get a date with Drew Barrymore. And he did it for $10,000, and he made about $1 million with it and got it theatrical. So
How long is a movie like that?
An hour and a half. It's a feature-length film.
Okay.
And he's likable. And I said, well, what if I do a film with me and 3 or 4 of my friends that have a New Year's resolution, and each of them has their own New Year's resolution. And my New Year's resolution is to have a Bill Murray experience. And they each have their New Year's resolution. And so at the end, it doesn't really matter if I meet Bill Murray or not, because ultimately this is what will happen. So I approach my ex, and we're going through a fucking horrible breakup. And I'm scared out of my mind because I'm living a really nice lifestyle. But more than that, my son's going to a really great public school in Manhattan Beach. And I don't want to move out because he's going to a great school, and I can't afford to live there in a 1-bedroom apartment's $2,000 a month.
Right.
So I'm fucked, and I'm doing the horror films for $200 a day, and you don't book them all the time. So I'm like, what am I going to do? And you could cocktail waitress and stuff, but every time I start to get a job, I have to be home with my son, but also I start to get a job, and then I have to quit my job to go do the acting job. And this is my life. This is my love. So I sit down with my ex, and I'm like, hey, I want $10,000 that I'll pay you back to do a Bill Murray experience. And he's like, what the fuck is a Bill Murray experience?
Right.
And I'm like, it's going viral. And he's like, what if you don't get Bill Murray? And at the time, the idea of a Bill Murray experience was brand new. This is about 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people didn't know what it was. And I said, trust me, this is the tipping point. It's going to be huge. And so I was kind of like high on this idea of Bill Murray. I started to feel like he was like Santa Claus or Bigfoot, or I was on to something solid gold. He says, I'm not giving you $10,000 to make that movie. Make a movie about something else. And I go, I want to make a doc. I want to be a filmmaker. So what I'm going to do. I said, if you don't give me the money, I'm going to go, have meetings all over LA, and I'll end up meeting somebody else, and we'll probably end up falling in love and getting married. Do you really want me to do that? And he goes, you're such a bitch. And he writes me a check for $10,000 on the spot and I say, I promise you I'll pay you back. No matter what, on principle, you'll get first dollar out, and we'll sign a contract as you're the EP. He's an executive producer for people who aren't in the industry. So I get really excited, and he says it's ridiculous. Well, about 3 months in, every party I go to, and then now I start to get back together with my ex because, I'm ridiculous. Because it happens. You get drunk or, and you end up hooking up. And he gave me $10,000 to do my film, and he believed in me, and, it's that. So lots of stuff ensues, and then I put my girlfriends in the project, and they're not really into it. But then I start to have this really weird feeling about, I'm just reading too much about Bill Murray. And everyone starts to go, stop talking about Bill Murray. And I'm sort of that person who gets really obsessed with things. I mean, it could be obsessed with pumpkin bread at fucking Trader Joe's that I have. But this time it's, oh my God, I'm directing my first doc, and it's about Bill Murray, and I'm just reading everything about Bill Murray. And everywhere I turn, and everyone I talk to says that they met Bill Murray. And now I don't know if people are lying to me or they're telling the truth, but everyone has a party story where they met Bill Murray. And then I start to believe, wait a second though, if I get Bill Murray in my film, it's like winning the lottery, because I could make this film for $10,000 and it could change my life. I could be financially independent and maybe get a little condo for $500,000. Think about it. So in some sense, me getting Bill Murray in my film, not only would it be great to meet Bill Murray, but I could sell my film. Like, fucking think about that.
Right.
Now I can support my kid. So now I start getting like this really weird, it becomes like almost a magical thing that it's a lottery that's in my hands. If I find Bill Murray, he's like finding a pot of gold, and all I have to do is convince Bill Murray to be in my film for 1 minute. And
so you have to stalk him.
That's the problem. So the problem is that's what's the problem. So great. Everyone gets really upset at me, and so I get back together with my ex-fiance, who starts to get insanely jealous because he's 60 years old. But I start talking about Bill Murray all the time, and he starts thinking that I'm in love with Bill Murray, and everyone starts thinking I am, but I am in love with Bill Murray.
Right.
Kind of. Who isn't?
Right. Well, he's your holy grail.
He's my oh my God. And at the same time, by the way, Jay-Z's song Holy Grail is on the radio. What are the odds? And I'm listening to it all the time. And at the same time, my girlfriends are kind of not that cool about doing the film because they want to be like Girls Gone Wild. And I'm like, I don't want to film us doing Girls Gone Wild. I want this to be like a unicorn sweet journey of us supporting each other. And they want to be like, look at me in my bikini and, we're running around. They want to be like a reality show. And I'm like, we're chasing the most magical person in the whole planet, Bill Murray. And all of a sudden, the guy who gave me the $10,000 to make the documentary is like sabotaging the documentary right. Because he's like, what if Sadie meets Bill Murray and Bill Murray and Sadie fall in love? And then I start to get crazy about it. Which none of this gets in my documentary because it's so negative and kind of yucky. I get this really great lead that Bill Murray is going to be in Morocco. And so we're already at about $6,000 that we've spent, and I haven't spent it wisely because I've been paying my girlfriends to be in the doc $100 a day. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of money, but they're like working actresses for like low budget stuff, and I wanted to pay them something. Right. So what happens is they find out that we don't have the money for them to go to Morocco, and I'm acting like a crazy person because I'm running around and partying a lot, and I'm fighting with my boyfriend, and I'm just being a crazy person who lives in Hollywood Hills and acting, and I'm literally talking about Bill Murray and strategizing, well, we could do this, we could do that, and I will not stop talking about Bill Murray. But when I'm talking about Bill Murray, I'm also talking about, I just said Bill Murray 12 times, so realize.
We can do a shot.
Every shot, yeah. So that was another thing. So I almost felt, which was obnoxious of me, but I was like, I'm discovering this. I'm at the beginning of it. But I just wanted it so bad, and I was very lonely. I was, in some ways, if you watch the movie Broken Flowers, I was like, yeah, I was like the ultimate broken flower. So part of me was like, oh my God, if Bill Murray has one moment with me for my film, not only would he save me, but maybe he's broken like me, and I would have that moment. And I was like in that pool with no water, struggling to get ahead. And then I was also doing like low budget horror films where I was playing like murderers and killers, and in some ways that was really good, but I was also like doing nudity.
Oh, yeah.
And which I continue to do, and I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth, but I'm in Hollywood Hills, and you're high, but you're low. Yeah. The Holy Grail stuff on a really low level. So it's not like I'm famous, but I'm really exploited. So I'm doing
You have the worst of both worlds.
Yeah. And I'm dating someone older. So like I'm throwing parties in my Hollywood Hills house where like people are stealing stuff out of my closet, and I'm probably doing illicit stuff. And I'm also a mom where I'm doing really positive stuff. So when I don't have my son on the weekends, I'm partying. And then during the week, I'm just trying to be a regular mom, and I'm sweating out my relationship falling apart. It was just like this crazy time. And then as I'm doing this, he says, I'm not giving you $4,000 to go to Morocco to chase Bill Murray. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's the most fucking genius thing. I'm going to go to Morocco to do this. Because he's just threatened, and we're in this big thing. And then something happens to my ear. in the middle of doing this documentary, and my ear pops. And I end up having this ringing in my ear. And the same day I'm having this ringing in my ear, we're having a dominatrix birthday party at our house in Hollywood Hills. And I'm having, which is what you do when you live in LA, with like little people at our house and stuff. I'm having this ringing in my ears, and it's tinnitus, which is like a constant. So everything just kind of comes to a head, and the project stops. I break up permanently with my fiance. Permanently in LA is like 6 months. And so everything stops, and all this, and my girlfriends are like out. They don't want to do the project anymore until he goes. And I move out of Hollywood Hills, and I'm like, I got to concentrate on my son and living in closer to the school, because I was commuting him every day to Manhattan Beach. And it was just so crazy. I'm hospitalized in UCLA for exhaustion. I come out, I figure it out, move back to Manhattan Beach, pick up my documentary again, keep searching for Bill Murray, which I can't tell you what happens after that.
Okay.
And then it takes another year. I finished the project, and I just went to AFM this weekend and pitched it around. I have a distributor, and
so you're finished.
Finished, and I ended up getting Joel Murray to interview for it, which is Bill's brother, and PJ Souls from Stripes was in it, and it ended up being this like super amazing thing. I started sending it to film festivals. I'm getting some good feedback, and now we'll see. But it's so exciting, because all I kept saying before is like, oh my God, if I just finish this, I'll be so proud of myself. Because everyone kept saying, you can't, you won't, it's stupid, it's dumb, it doesn't make any sense. But it could be something.
That was a fucking trip. You were so much fun.
Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Ambition kills 'cause it eats you alive. Ambition steals what you have inside. Ambition greases the path that you gon' slide on. Tell me, I don't know why I can't leave it alone. I'd ride the bus my whole life if I didn't feel that itch. A lot of haters in my ear, and ain't nobody louder than me. Y'all don't owe me nothing, but I'm coming to get it, be ready to give. I see the life I want, damn if I can only reach beyond my grasp. I don't blame nobody for nothing, unless you block a path for me to scratch out my little something. Get the hell out of my way, can't you see I'm trying to make reality blossom? Oh, some hate to see me rise, 3 of them people to me. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Ambition kills 'cause it eats you alive. Ambition steals what you have inside. Ambition greases the path that you gon' slide on. Tell me, I don't know why I can't leave it alone. Smart, dumb people got me marked for failure. They light a candle like a prayer at mass, but it's really a wolf ticket they want me to cash. Why they wanna see me drop? It's a waste of time for me to ask. I don't wanna know your name if you hate me. I let it hang like strange fruit, but before you take me down, you know where to kiss me. Knuckleheads will call it a test, cause you can't see them cheating in the back. Come under the table, I just wanna protect my neck. Winning the game don't matter if I lose my self-respect. Got to want, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Ambition kills cause it eats you alive. Ambition steals what you have inside. Ambition greases a path that you gon' slide on. Tell me, I don't know why I can't leave it alone. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want, got to need it, got to have it. Got to want it, got to need it, got to have it. Ambition kills cause it eats you alive. Ambition steals what you have inside. Ambition greases a path that you gon' slide on. Tell me, I don't know why I can't leave it alone.
That was Dave Williams and Chad Bishop with Ambition from their album Vocals Horn. You can find that album and more work by Dave and Chad on Bandcamp. If you check out my blog at melaniehiller.com, you'll find links to the trailer for the Bill Murray Experience, as well as a link to Sadie Katz's IMDb page. There's also a link to the album Vocals Horn and other projects by Dave and Chad. If you want to be a Tailspin contributor, please let me know via my Facebook page, Instagram, or my website, melaniehiller.com. Remember, without you, there's no story.
Look up! Look up! Look up! Keep your eyes focused on the beautiful, ever-changing